look, I think honestly, if you want to just jump right into that, like a lot of these shows are just not passing like the smell test. I don't really understand why we're getting shows like this. Supposedly with Ironheart, they're taking it off the schedule because they want to probably rework it for the Armor Wars movie, which is going to now be a movie. It was going to be a Disney Plus show, and that's supposed to center around Rhodey, the real Rhodey, in the MCU. And apparently now it's really going to connect to Tony Stark. They're probably going to even change the name to have like Stark in it. So, when it comes to Ironheart, it's a weird one. I follow a lot of the leaks and rumors and whatnot, and there were some early on ideas that I thought were cool, and there's some cool things in there. But at the end of the day, it is just an Ironheart show, and especially at this time when I feel like a lot of Marvel fans are just kind of fatigued of what they would call filler content.
Yeah.
We want to just get into the awesome stuff, man, like the Spider-Man No Way Home, the Deadpool 3, the X-Men, Doctor Doom, the stuff that we all sort of grew up with. Ironheart is not that character, and she wasn't even successful in the comics, so it's like very strange, you know what I mean, that they would do a show around her. But
thank goodness we've got Agatha.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait, I thought that was being renamed and postponed as well.
Yeah.
I think there was a new name for it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're calling it
Why?
Yeah, no. They should just call it X-Men. They should just cancel it and do the X-Men.
Oh, you can't do that. You can't say X-Men. You can't say that.
Oh no,
X people. No, it is.
I think they're gonna go. Well, the lady that had said that is no longer with Marvel Studios anymore. And there was a lot of people sort of think that some of the stuff that happened in Phase 4 and 5 might have been, Victoria Alonso sort of whispering in Kevin Feige's ear, and like Grima Wormsong, she is no more. But when it comes to Agatha, they changed it to Diaries of the Darkhold. So I think they're trying to actually, it's weird. They're trying to distance from Agatha, and I feel like they're trying to maybe, I don't know if trick's the right word, but they're trying to market it as, something more important because of the Darkhold connections and the multiverse and all that sort of stuff. So, I mean, look, that is, to me, I think Marvel's facing death by 1,000 cuts right now. But one of the things that's, I think, could really do some damage, that could be a nail in the coffin, is these shows that nobody is really going to care about. And they just have so many of them, and they refuse to cancel them or change them. And I think that, I really think canceling these shows would go a long way, for the brand. But of course, that's where Disney comes in, and the Disney Plus, and like, that whole strategy. And it's just like they're at odds. You know what I mean? I feel like the creative vision and the sort of corporate mandates for streaming stuff, it's not working right now. So that's part of the problem.
I'll tell you what I think is going on. Go ahead, Steve.
No, go. You're roboting a little bit.
After you, Steve. No, after
well, thank you, sir. I'm honored by your presence. I think what the baseline that they need to format is get people that, like, we've heard this argument. I'm sorry to sound like a repetitive record. Get people who actually know how to open a comic book, even when they're told not to, and look at how these characters are portrayed. Do some digging and actually figure out how can we relate, because that's the whole thing. They've lost the relation between what a fan is, who these characters are, and how to bring them to life. How is it Fox can do it? We're not talking about the other movies with Phoenix and that weird stuff, but we can't get it now when you have all of this money on hand to literally bring a world to life. What happened after the Gauntlet? It seems that more than just the snap, creativity died with that snap as well. Tony Stark could not save creativity after that movie.
Yeah.
So and apologies on if I robot here. It is what it is, this show. Hopefully we'll have this solved tomorrow. But
sound good right now.
What I think is going on, and this comes from having chatted with some of the people who gave us the exclusive on Hugh Jackman coming back to for the first time to the MCU and playing Wolverine, multi-movie deal, all of that, and Storm coming to Wakanda. I think what's going on is I think that Marvel is one of the few divisions of Disney that actually knows that they're in trouble and they cannot continue to do what they've been doing. I think most of Disney does not get it. I think that Feige, they have figured out this was not working at all, and Feige cares about Feige, and Feige wants to succeed. Now, what I think is going on here is that they still have a lot of content that they know sucks. and there's no way around it because of the strike. Can't refilm it, can't reshoot it. They're just stuck with suck. All right?
Yeah.
Everybody put that on a shirt. Marvel currently is stuck with suck. They've got to get the suck out there. They got to put it out and let it burn to the ground. All right? It's like a forest fire. And then they can get to the stuff that they think will sell. We're talking about bringing back Wolverine, putting Wolverine with Spider-Man. That's what they want to do. They want to get back to their at least B-tier heroes, and they're ready to chunk the rest. But they're stuck having to put this other stuff out there until the Hollywood strike is over. They got to slow down the cadence of all of this. And the big question remains, and audience, you out there, put it in the chat. Tell us what you think. The question is, has the damage been done so much now that people don't care? Or does Marvel have the opportunity to turn it around? I don't think Star Wars can turn it around. I think people have walked away. I think this Rebel Moon thing is about to eat Star Wars long run.
Nope, we lost you.
But
I think he was making good points. I mean, I agree with a lot of that, especially when it comes to Feige and Marvel maybe being one of the only studios that gets it, because, from what I understand, they've been even making changes up until like a year ago. So even in the middle of phase 4, they were receiving feedback and they were making changes. That's why Captain America 4 is now going to have the Red Hulk. That's why Thunderbolts is now going to have Sentry. So they've been, kind of upping the ante and I think, shifting things for a while. But I think that Quantum Mania and then Secret Invasion were kind of like a 1-2 punch that they were not ready for. And, these projects were the most widely rejected projects by the fandom maybe ever. And so, now I think they're in even more of a scramble situation. The strikes could help them in the sense that I think it might give them the time to kind of collect some of these ideas and formulate strategy. But I mean, he's absolutely right about the suck, because it's the thing that, as I sit here as a fan and as somebody that makes this kind of content, it's my absolute dread is like going through Echo and the Marvels and a lot of this content that I just think it's, it's going to be a landmine and it's not going to be good for the brand. And I really just wish they'd cancel it, but yeah, they're definitely not going to do that. So.
I think it's reached the point where I've said this terminology before, that Disney is the Rome that's the next to fall, because everything fails. A man-made fails, and it takes sometimes hitting the ground. All of us have been through that. It even has to come to companies and corporations. You eventually have to hit rock bottom before that smack of the ground gets you going to where you need to go. And the problem is they're so hard-stepped in where they're standing now, whether it be socio-political or entertainment political, they're not reaching the one thing that they have been known for decades, and that is families, entertainment, and escapism. They have removed all of that while making remakes saying it is escapism, and it's not, because they're out of touch. And now the fans are leaving them out of touch of their wallets. And it sucks, because these things are branched and connected to things of memories with family, friends, lost one, loved ones, all of these things. It doesn't matter if it's just Star Wars or Marvel. It could be anything and has that attachment. For Valiant, it's your dad, and it's Star Trek, right? TNG and stuff. When those things start shattering, you're also affecting on an emotional level. And when you start hitting at the emotional level, all you're creating is anger. And then they're wondering why there's anger. And then they're calling you names. And it just turns into this high school fiasco.
Well, Valiant, why don't you talk to us for a moment? Because you know how this works in terms of Marvel has put these things through. Disney Plus has ordered them. Right. So the decision to air them, it seems to me, comes from the purchaser, which is Disney Plus.
Yeah, in a sense. I mean, that's how it is. So, I mean, when you have these studios, be they Marvel, be they Lucasfilm, be they Pixar, whatever the case may be, if it's something destined for streaming, then yeah, they're effectively kind of fulfilling an order, a purchase order. So you'll have Disney corporate and Disney Plus go around and say, hey, look, we want over the next 2 years, we want 5 Marvel shows, we want 5 Star Wars shows, we want 3 Pixar specials. Whatever the case is, right? They're allocating money for this from the Disney Plus credit card, which is now 14 to 15 billion in debt. So yikes. So they basically make the purchase order for this, and then they say, how much is this going to cost? And they say, well, we'll come up with some ideas, and then, of course, they have to be approved, right? Lucasfilm, Marvel, they can't just make anything they want. Now, granted, they're going to give a lot of deference to people like Kevin Feige. Well, I think this is the shows we need to do that will fit into the plan here, if there is even still a plan. I'm not sure there is. But let's say there is still some kind of plan. They say, well, these shows will fit into this plan. Let's make these shows. Well, we're going to make these movies. Well, no, we really need them as shows because we've got to fill space on Disney Plus. Like you said, Josh, there's filler. There's a lot of filler. And you can kind of clearly see things that may have originally worked as a 90-minute to 2-hour film that were then artificially just stretched way out to 3 and 4 hours worth of content, 8 episodes at 30 minutes apiece or whatever, and most of it you could just throw away or is totally forgettable.
Almost always the middle.
Yeah. Like the first 1 or 2 episodes, and then you get the last episode. Everything else in the middle is who cares.
Right. Those are the movie quality. In between is where you're just like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Why
it's
you
like weird parts of like Act 2 and 3. And yeah, they have them as singular episodes, and it's almost every single one of them has the same issues, that lag in the middle for sure.
Like a fever dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
They get these, they throw these budgets out, and Disney, of course, is very used to the Disney quality or whatever that is. And when they come up with, we'll do Secret Invasion for Secret Wars, whichever one was on Disney Plus. I can't keep them straight. Secret Invasion.
Yep.
$212 million for that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
$212 million. So if that was a total runtime of maybe 3.5, 4 hours worth, I guess, somewhere in that vicinity. If it had been a movie, it'd have been about half that. So they're spending as much money as they would filming a movie or close to it, but they're winding up with double the amount of consumable runtime. Okay?
Yeah.
So then that's where the economies of scale come in. People think, well, how are they also spending $200+ million on these Disney Plus shows? They're supposed to be cheaper. Well, per minute, they are. Technically, they're about half the price. But they're making twice as much content to fill in. So in that regard, I mean, you're getting these things that are costing hundreds of millions of dollars, and at the end of the day, it's like, okay, here's the show. And then Disney Plus whips out the credit card. They pay the production entity for the final product, and off they go. And then we see it reported on the financial returns each and every quarter with the Walt Disney Company when they get to the streaming losses, and they've racked up another, this past quarter was between 500 and 600 million, which is way better than what it was a year ago. It was
right. I was just going to say, I thought it was like $1 billion a quarter, basically.
1.5 billion is about where it peaked per quarter last year. But yeah, they were losing a cruise ship a quarter, a Disney cruise ship every quarter on Disney Plus.
Still not far off of it.
Yeah. So they're trying to get that down now because obviously they have a goal that they're still guiding towards. Hey, we have to meet this goal. We're sticking to this goal that Disney Plus will show a profit in a quarter. I'm not like they're not going to bail themselves out of the $15 billion they're already in the hole for. They're just going to show a quarter that instead of a negative number, it's going to be a positive number. It might be $1 for all we know, but they'll show a positive operating income. That's what they're trying to get to by the end of fiscal year 24, which is September 30th next year, just about 13 months away or so from today.
Renegade.